Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Habari za asubuhi, habari za mchana, habari za jioni, brothers and sisters all over the world. And yes, I am talking to each and every one of you all over the world. The name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. How you guys doing this evening? Okay, it's evening time for me, and it's good because this is the first time, first broadcast of what we hope to be every night. What we're gonna call the night chat. The African Times Night Chat with Thomas. All right, everybody. This is, like I said, our what we say, our first broadcast, of this kind of segment. And in this segment, we're going to talk about again a variety of topics. In the evening, at the end of the day, after I've had a full day of living in the motherland, interacting with the people in the motherland, and which allows an opportunity for me to express to you my perspective after having had that experience where I'm dealing with our good people. And for me, it's a wonderful, wonderful situation because I lived my whole life in W world, where I'm surrounded by people who don't look like me. And the people who don't look like me, if you look like me, they don't look like you. And if you lived in a similar situation, when you get older and you become an adult, a grown-up person, and you recognize that there's something unnatural about how we were living and how we were growing up. In some cases, that unnaturalness means that first, you're not a human being behaving in your own natural environment, safety, love, security, protection. It's not present there because you can feel the danger in the environment. And these people create that. They create that. They know they do. It's intentional. It's not accident. So, knowing that it's not your natural environment, then naturally one has to start wondering and thinking about oneself, what's natural for oneself. And that's where we find ourselves in this broadcast. What's natural for oneself. In other words, what is your identity? What is your real life, true identity? So what does identity mean? What is identity? So we're going to talk tonight about identity, and it's very important to understand identity is critical to us getting out of the situation that we're in. And we have to get out of it, and we have to talk about it. So we're going to start a little bit tonight with identity. So I'm going to look at a couple of notes here, okay? And I want you guys to hang in there with me. All right? I don't mean to be too academic, but now we need to talk about identity because I told you in a couple of videos back that as brothers, men, we are out of our natural minds. Literally, we have lost our natural minds, our identity. We've lost it. It's been taken from us and replaced with another identity. If you don't believe that, that's fine. You don't have to believe that. But these are facts. And these facts have to be examined so that we can recapture our natural mind and our natural identity. And the only way to do that is to recognize that we have a problem, an identity problem. Some people call it an identity crisis. And once we recognize that problem, then we can start taking steps to solve it. All right, so let me look at this real quick here. All right, hold on. There you go. Yeah, I can see you, and then you can see me. All right, so when we talk about identity, what we're talking about is a couple of things. It's not really complicated, but it can be. So let's look at something. First, identity, right? Who are you? Who are you? Now, that seems like a simple question. I know who I am. I'm this and I'm that. Okay, well, let's look at something. All right. You hear me talking about people that look like me. Okay. Who you are, your identity, is not only who you are, but it's also who you are not. Who you think you are, and who do you think you're not. You know, who others think you are, how others perceive you, who others think you're not. Okay, and how you perceive yourself, and how others perceive you. All of these things help to shape your identity. It's not just you. It's not just you and your thoughts. That would be a W concept, that you are an individual and you make up yourself, who you are, and you stand out alone as this individual person with all of these individual ideas and choices, and all mythology, false, not true. Not true in any sense of the word. Okay. All right, so let's look at it. Let's see. All right, so let's say, what is identity? All right, we already know who you are, a variety of things that kind of go into it, but let's look at what is identity. There are two kind of things that strike me with identity. It's very, very simple. It's you. Your identity is you, and it is your environment. They're linked. They're the same. They can't be separated. You're not just you. You are a part of your environment, and your environment is a part of you. Now, we got to be careful here, because environment is not just things outside. You know, the trees, the animals. No. The environment is all things. The environment is all things. I mean, yes, the people, you're part of a group. A group. All of us will inhabit the earth as human beings, or whatever name you want to give us. You're a part of that group, okay? But that environment is just not the human beings. It's also the solid structures, the buildings, the cars, the business activity, science, the trees, the rocks, everything. And you're a part of them, whether you understand that or not. You know, you're a part of them. And the reason that they're a part of you is because these things, because they exist at the same time you exist, and they occupy the same space that you do, you now have a perception of those things. And I'm going to explain to you all why this is very important. So please understand, follow me here. I don't mean to be too academic, but I need you to understand. Your identity, you and the environment, whether that environment is a group of individuals who have life and breathe and all of that just like you, or and or all of the environment, the cars, the boats, the computers, the schools, the institutions, the buildings. All of those things are you, and you are them. They cannot be separated. I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. Now, from the time you're born, you need to understand, from the time you're born, all of those things that I just talked to you about, you come out, here's the world. Well, you immediately come into structures, right? Yeah, you come into, most of us, a hospital. And if you don't come into a hospital, you come out in the woods, right? As soon as you come out in the woods, there are structures around. The woods themselves, they're there. You see them. You have a perception of them. You feel the wind. You feel the air. And then at that point, you start to interpret these things around you. Are they good to you? Are they safe for you? Are they fun? Is it a danger? Is it a happy, calm, peaceful situation? You begin to interpret these things. Now, once you start interpreting these things, these are signals to you. They're signals. Now, remember, I told you, I come from W land. And I told you, you can feel when you're in a place and it doesn't feel good to you because you're around a bunch of people who don't like you. So you can feel that, all right? Just like when you're born, you come out into the world, you now start to interpret the environment, and it causes a feeling in you. And when it causes a feeling in you, then you begin to react from your interpretation of those signals. Okay? All right. Now, the other thing is that's you coming out, reacting. So that's you. You come out, you react to what's around you. Now remember I told you the group or the environment, whether that group is other human beings, other people, or if it's the environment itself, the structures. That environment is constantly and continuously shaping your identity. Because remember, I told you these are signals. Even a wall, just a wall. Just imagine a wall now. You come out and there's a wall there. You think, well, it's just a wall. It can't have any impact on me. No. If you want to go somewhere and the wall is there, you can't go that way. There's a wall there. Now, you have to react to that. You got to think, why is the wall here? Is the wall preventing me from going? Is what I want on the other side of that wall? Okay, is there something preventing me to get on the other side? Can I move the wall? And now at that point, action has to take place. You got to do something. Now, depending on what other things are in the environment, that begins to shape your thought about the environment itself. Now, this is very important to understand. I know this seems a little academic, but please go along with me because you got to understand. We're surrounded by a group of people who they have control of that environment. They have control of that environment. So you and me now are receiving signals from people who control the environment, which means they control the signals, which means they can control now how we think and feel and what we think and feel about. And if they can control what you think and feel, they can control the development of your identity. You understand? They can control the development of your identity, and that's very important. Identity. Remember what I told you, identity. Who are you? If I can control who you think you are, if I can control who others think you are, I can control you. Because depending on who you think you are and who others think you are, I can make you into a complete human being that responds to everything I want you to respond to, and I can control you. And that's having the power. That's the power. That's having the power to make a human being, to control the identity of a person. So that when you now say, somebody says, well, okay, who are you? As an example, say I'm an African person. Now, don't get caught up in Africa, meaning Africa, like the word Africa. It's a beautiful word, Africa. But let's set that word aside because it's only a symbol. It's an arrangement of letters, script. It's an arrangement of it. It's not the word itself. We just use that to identify what? The people, the location. But it's much more than that because we're talking about identity. Not only identifying where you are or the location or the people, but you're identifying a person, a type of person. Now, some of you may think that that's not true, that the word Africa doesn't identify anything but a location. You would be mistaken. Just like in W World, right? See, if I just say W World, we all know who those people are. That is identifying a certain type of people, a certain type of person with certain behaviors. Some of you might automatically associate the W's with being smart, being in control. We have that same thing with, Asians and where I'm from, the Jewish people are, the Jewish people got money, all this kind of foolishness, okay? So what I'm explaining to you is you got two parts, you and then your environment. And that environment is both people, but also all of the things in the environment, whether they're living things or non-living things. You begin to receive signals from those things, and then you have to interpret those signals to mean something, and that shapes your identity, your perception of yourself, your perception of the world, and then your perception of how the world perceives you. So let me give you a kind of more concrete example. Let's say you come up and you say that you're a piano player. Okay? All right. Now, you're a piano player and you play the piano and you practice. And you take your piano out to the public and you go out and you tell the public people you're a piano player and you start playing and you play horribly. You play horribly. All right. Okay, so once you start playing horribly, the people who showed up to see you play, because they were told a piano player is going to be here, they decide they don't really like your piano playing. All right? So those people, they leave. They don't come back. They leave. So at that point, you play poorly. The people stop coming to listen to you. Now, at that point, you have no audience. So you have to decide, okay, I say I'm a piano player, nobody's listening to me, nobody's coming to see me play. So then you got to say, do I want to play for myself? Because I enjoy my playing. Maybe the other people don't like it, I don't know, but they're not here. So I'm here by myself playing, all right? Now remember, you said you were a piano player. The other people, they listened to you, they left. They don't really consider you a piano player. And you can say, well, I play poorly or I play well. Doesn't matter if nobody's coming to see you and you're by yourself. Are you a piano player? And you might say, yes, I'm a piano player. But the perception of everybody around you is that you're not a piano player. That's why they don't come see you play piano. Now, if you don't have an audience and you're playing for yourself, you got a choice to make. Were you playing for the audience or were you playing for yourself? If you were playing for the audience, then no audience, you probably stop playing. If you were playing for yourself, then you keep playing. But the people don't recognize you as a piano player. So you have to play the piano for yourself. You yourself are a person, not a piano player. You are a person who plays piano. The people who see you, they don't recognize you as a person who plays piano. They might say you think you can play piano. You want to play the piano, but you don't. So what I'm explaining to you simply, and again, I want you to understand, the environment, if you were playing a piano and it was something that they would enjoy, they would then call you a piano player. And then, even if you didn't call yourself a piano player, they would recognize you as such. And everybody where you go, oh, that's that piano player. But nobody's going to say that to you if you don't play well. So what we're talking about is you cannot exist as an individual and have an identity without also that identity being recognized by the group of people in the environment who relate to you and interact with you. Now, let me kind of tie all this in to show you what I'm talking about. Remember, I told you, you have a group of people who don't look like us, who have the ability to control that environment. They also have the means to influence the environment, the groups of people in the environment, to have a certain perception of you. You yourself as an individual, if you receive the same signals that the group received about the type of person that you are, and then you yourself begin to say and identify, to say, yes, I am that person, and identify with those people, because, yeah, everybody says I'm a great piano player, so I must be a great piano player, right? They say that. You don't have to say it. You can say it all day. Even if you play horrible, you can say, I'm the greatest piano player that ever played. But that has to be confirmed and reaffirmed by the environment. So the W's who understand this, they have created in us as African brothers and sisters an identity that is not natural to us. It's not us. But that identity that they created, that identity is one of self-hatred. Because it's actually their identity. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? It's their identity. We can see it clearly in, let's say, an individual. Let's take a man, a boy. All right? He grows up and he's watching what? The television. He's listening to their radio programs. Even if it says for black people only, it's not for black people only. They weren't the ones to produce it. All right? They don't have the satellite. They don't even make the control over which images will be played across that medium. They don't make that decision. That decision is made by people who don't look like us. So you get all those signals to our children. Then before you know it, you got blue contact lenses in your eyes. Hazel contact lenses in your eyes. You notice? Not natural. Not natural. Then you were making changes to your natural hair. You're making changes to your skin. You're making changes to, your speech, how you talk. And if you pay close attention, all of those changes are identified with the characteristics of the W's. So when you say, what is your identity? You don't know your identity, just like I didn't. I know this to be true because I went through it. I lived it. I lived it completely. They made movies about it, jokes about it when we were younger. When I first came up, it was the press and curl. Men were taking a hot comb, pressing their hair, make it straight and curly. There was some things called the conk, where you take this paste, you put it on there, straightens your hair out. The men were doing it. I'm talking about the men. The men were doing it. Then you had the rollers. You put that in there. You press your hair. You put the rollers in there. You have wavy hair. This guy from Star Wars, I can't remember his name, his brother, he used to do it all the time. Billy D. Williams. Yeah, back in the day. So I'm an old dude, but yeah. Then after that, it was the whole Michael Jackson Prince thing with the hair. Remember? The Jerry curls and so forth and so forth. But it was us men taking our natural identity, the characteristics that identify us as black people, African men, the features that are so unique only to us, that we were endowed with the strongest features, the most durable features, the most beautiful features. African people. So we changed all that to straight hair, like the W's. So what I'm showing you is that the identity, who you are, that can be changed. That can be changed to the point that you don't know who you are, and you believe that you're somebody else. But you'll tell people, no, I know who I am. Yeah, I know who I am. Yeah. No, we don't know. We have to be reprogrammed. We have to be shown our identity. We have to be shown that by us, which means we have to have a group of people researching and identifying the characteristics, the things that make us African people. And again, African is just, you got, I think, a Kibalan, even like Egypt, Kemet. What was the other place that they used to call it, where Kush, you name it. There are many names. But the names don't really matter, because that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is your identity, who you are. So now, when your identity has been stripped from you and taken away, and it's being controlled every day, so that, the environment is given to you. You're placed in it. And when you're in that environment, people who can control what that environment has to offer you, they control you. For example, a lady asked me, she said, well, what are you? Are you Muslim or Christian? That's what she asked me. Now that struck me as odd, because I get two choices. That's what I get? Two choices? Now we have to go into that, because those are entities of the environment. Christian, Muslim. Now me, I'm an African person. What are you? Are you Christian? Are you Muslim? She gave me two choices. Now in America, they give you two choices for politics. You're Democrat or you're a Republican. Huh? Now, there's one thing that's similar about both of those choices: Democrat, Republican, Christian, Muslim. Somebody gave you those. You didn't come out into this earth, into this world, none of you, making that yourself. You didn't do that. You came out, that was already here. And now somebody's telling you, you got to choose. And most of us, like all children, we come out, we just follow along what our parents tell us. And depending on where you live, remember I told you Africa? I'm African, I'm here. But I was over in W World. And in W World, the majority of the people follow a particular, you Christian or you Muslim. And they go back and forth. Has anybody ever here realized that, you and the people that look like you African? Now, let's remove the word African. Most of the people that look like us, they're here. And me personally, I don't really have any more concern anymore about the confusion of, wait, were you here? Were you there? I come here every day. I get up. I look outside. I walk around. I see people that look like me everywhere. Everywhere. If you go to China and you walk around in China, you're going to see people that look Chinese. The majority of them, they're there. Okay? But there are Chinese people other places too. I guess what I'm trying to get you to understand is that our identity can be altered and changed, and it has been, to the point that we're no longer our natural selves. Our sisters, I'm aware that I talked about the men and the changes that they made, but it's happening to our sisters too, and that's the part that hurts me and it's alarming to me, because we got our young black sisters, black African sisters, who are poisoning themselves, and brothers too, to make themselves look different. Not black, different. Like the W's. Like Michael Jackson. And I know you guys know him. It's kind of, hate to say it, but it's very disappointing. But to look like him, to do what he did, one of the first really, really major guys that we know changed from whatever he was doing. It's very sad, because we as men, we have to change that. I have a daughter. I don't want my daughter growing up thinking that the beauty that she sees and desires is a W woman. Now, if I straighten my hair and I put dye it blonde, if I do that, would that be attractive to you? Would that be attractive to you? Because there's a danger in that. Why would you want to do that? To make yourself look like them? And I'm just asking me, because it's a very important thing to me. See, I don't see a whole lot of anyone, W's, the Asians, the Arabs, I don't see any of those people running around with Afro wigs. It's very rare. I don't even know if I've ever seen it in my life. Yet, we have a group of people, us, spending a tremendous amount of money. Feeding many, many families off of products designed to make us look like W's. That hurts me. So I have to say it. I can't not talk about it. I told y'all the truth of death. We have our children that we're training. Remember I told you the environment shapes you. You have control over that personal environment of your child. And when you want to be and look like W's, creating generations and generations of self-hatred. And the identity that these children will have will be false, be self-defeating, low in self-esteem. So we have to make some choices. We're going to be proud of what we have that was given to us naturally, our identity. Our good brothers and sisters who out there want to speak and sound like they're speaking perfect W English. Not the grammar, the correct usage of that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the tone. To sound like them. It's okay to have Black African tone to your voice. That's okay. That's beautiful. We're a unique people. We gave the world language. Yeah, we did. So look, let me speak to something else too while we're talking about this identity. Yeah, I was asked in one of the videos, one of the comments, why do you say Black Africa? There are no black people. This is what I was told. There are no black people. I'm gonna tell you, I'm here in the motherland, beautiful, beautiful motherland. There's black people all around me. I don't even know how a person could even ask me something like that. Not that it was bad. It's a good question. It's a good question. But it reminds me of this thing that I grew up with in America where I don't see color. Now, I don't know what kind of foolishness that is because I see color every day. I'm looking at it right now on this. I'm looking there on the phone. There's a red dot. I'm wearing a black shirt. It's black night. There's a white light in the background. Why would I act like I don't see that? That's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's foolishness. Now, as far as the black people, black. See, language is dynamic. It has many idiosyncrasies. It's not just only, black and white words. No, words also are used to describe intentionality, feelings, concepts and ideas. So when you talk about black, brothers and sisters, we're not just talking about black the color. No, we're talking about culture. We're talking about identity. And black being representative of a set of social behaviors, social norms, social ideologies, all of that make up the identity of the person. So we refer to that person as black because that person has those characteristics and social norms of the black people. Okay? Now, Africa, just like W land, is filled with some other people. Some other people that don't look like me and you. I told you in the last video, they're coming. If we don't buy the land, they're going to come by and tell us it's theirs. There's an actress. I'm not going to say her name. You can look her up. She's an actress. She's from South Africa. Okay? And she will tell you, and she has said it openly and publicly, that she's African. That's what she says. Okay. All right. Now, you know the history of South Africa, just like I know the history of the United States. If I go, let me give you an example so you understand, because you got to understand these games these people play. If I go to China right now, and I take my children to China, not that it could be anywhere, it could be Saudi Arabia, it could be India, it could be any one of those places which the United States, America, and Europe, they're famous for this. Okay. But let's use China because we know there's a large group of people over there, much like Africa. They're the same people. Okay? And they even tell you openly, one China. That's their policy. One China, period. But let's say I move over there. I live over there, then I have I take my children grow up there, and then my children, they have children who are born there. All right. Now, you see how I look, right? Am I Chinese? No, I'm asking you, am I Chinese? Now, I know I'm not Chinese, but I don't know, maybe you think I am. I don't know. I know the Chinese people tell you, no, brother. No, you're not Chinese. Okay, all right. So in the example, I move over there, me and my children live there, then my children grow up, and they have children by another black person, of course, because that's what we want, remember? So my children have children by another black person that happen to be living there. Their children who are born in China, when they become adults, are they Chinese? Now I'm asking you, are they Chinese? Now, if in your mind, any of you out here are thinking that when my children are born, because they were born there, that they're now Chinese, and when they go across the world and they talk to people and they tell the people, yeah, I'm Chinese, do you know how foolish they would look to the people? The Chinese people can be born here every day in the good motherland of Africa. They can be born here every day. They will never, ever, ever in their life, ever tell you they're African. They're not gonna do it. Now, if you hear any of them do it, you better be careful, because they're probably coming to take your land. Oh yeah, they'll do it for a strategy, for a tactic. They're not giving up their identity. But we have a group of people who don't understand what's happening, and they're giving up their identity. And as a result of us men not putting the institutions in place, the systems in place, and even using propaganda in every way that we can, so that we persuade our people that the epitome of beauty, the standard of beauty, is the blackest, darkest, blackest, black that you can find. It's the most beautiful color in the world. And the nappy hair, the big lips, big nose, big eyes, cheekbones, round head, all of it is the most precious and beautiful thing that we can have on this earth. And there is no other human being, none, who can come close to being as attractive, as bright and intelligent as that. Now, I don't have no problem with saying that. I don't have a problem with saying that at all. I have sisters that I see from W-Land, and they're walking around with big pictures of Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, she white like Michael Jackson. On all the pictures that I see of her, you know, white. Now, the W's, and platinum blonde, like silver blonde, you know what I mean? It's like blonde, yellow or white, it's all white. They put out through their media and propaganda that is the quintessential, the supreme symbol of beauty. White, blonde, blue eyes. That's what they do. The other groups, like here I see a lot of television. India, the Chinese television. And we see these images. I haven't seen any of them wearing an Afro wig. I haven't seen them imitating black people in any way other than maybe stealing some of the music, the rhythm, the beats. Maybe sometimes I've seen where they maybe wear our clothes or something like that. But even that's questionable. You can't really tell because we've taken our identity and allowed, because we for some reason we tend to look at the other people and think that their ideas and their ways and their things are better. So I didn't I didn't plan to talk to you this long about this, but our identity. Our identity has been taken from us and replaced with an alien identity. And that identity that we have been given is the identity of a person who does not like people that look like you and me. And so once we get that identity in us, then guess what? When we look in the mirror, we won't like people that look like you and me. We'll desire others. We'll desire the ways that others behave. We'll desire to imitate their philosophies and ideologies. We'll see their ideas as being better ideas than ours. That's a dangerous thing, because before you know it, you'll hate yourself so much, you'll kill yourself. You'll kill others that look like you. Then, as generations go by, you will lose sight of who you were, and you will then only remember yourself as them. And then your language, your culture, everything will be removed. So I had a choice to make. Do I talk about this or do I not? This is kind of like the night chat. This is what I'm talking about. We have to change this, and that means we're going to have to do some things. In other words, all of these people who claim to be, educated and in the know what they're doing, know and these are the leaders, we have to do something about it. And I'm going to tell you, because I told you I'm going to talk about solutions. We're going to have a separate video on this, but I'm going to give you a taste of it. The education that our children get must include what their identity is. Not the W identity. That's the education they get when they go to school in the Western educational system. No, when they come home, we have to have an organized educational curriculum that teaches them who they are, what their identity is, how wonderful and beautiful and magnificent it is to be them, and that their identity is linked to their culture, and their culture is linked to their survival. So everything that they see, do, and talk about and think should be for the survival of them first. And then, once that security is in place to protect their survival, then we can think about interaction with others. That means our education, we have to give. Everybody get together. Y'all pick out somebody who's smart in different areas, and it should be an area of each area of people activity, but who understands what their purpose is, that they're Black African people. And remember, I told you Black African. The reason I'm saying Black African, that people here in Africa don't look like us. And they're here to take away your land. They're here to take it away. And they're going to use the fact that they say they're here, so because they're here and they've been here for generations, just like I told you in the example, if my children grow up, are they Chinese now? No, they're not Chinese. They're still black African people who live in China. So those people are going to come and they're going to try to take your land. So we have to educate our children, again, to know who they are, to love who they are. And that has to be in an organized curriculum. All of the people in each area of people activity in your neighborhood, you pick someone. And when your kids go to school, when they come home from that, 3-4 nights a week, they go to their real education. And it doesn't have to be in a building. You don't have to pay nobody. No, y'all can go sit up under a tree. You can sit in somebody's backyard. You can meet at somebody's apartment building. You can meet in a parking lot anywhere. And you educate your children about the truth. My daughter did something last night. We were at a restaurant. I can't tell you. she my daughter hears me. She listens to me. And some people came by. They didn't look like me. And my daughter said, "Don't talk to those people." That's what she said. You know how you teach your children don't talk to strangers? In America, we have to teach our children that because they tell us that they'll be, kidnapped and all that. So I'm just telling you guys, with kids, things come out of the mouths of kids. But what does that tell you about her identity? What does that tell you about what she's picking up as? There's some people out here that may not have her best interest at heart. And that's good to know. You have to know that. Otherwise, you can be hurt and abused, as we have been. So anyway, just wanted you guys to know that. So you have to educate your children, and you can do that. Don't think it's incorrect to think you take them someplace on Sunday and then they're gonna get the education that they need to deal with this world. You can take them on Sunday. I'm not telling you not to. What I'm telling you is don't confuse the two. That education is different than the education that they need to protect themselves and survive and to have their identity. Because remember, I told you they gave me two choices. You Christian or you Muslim. None of that has nothing to do with how I came out of my mother's tummy. It had nothing to do with that. When I came out there, no. When I came out, just like you, and you, and you, and you. When you came out, you didn't have that choice. And for all of us who, wonder how we got here now, we came out naked as African people, just like the Arabs, and I hate to say Arabs, I don't really know. They don't. The W's have made so many lies about where the name of this, the name of that, where this from. So many lies that it's hard for us to really know. But one thing we do know, we have facts that this is a big continent, Africa. And on this continent, the majority of the people, they're black. Now you look at me saying, with his black, remember what I told you. Black is just not a word that describes a color. No, it describes a culture, an identity, a consciousness, a way of thinking, an identity. The W's, they want to remove that. That's why they don't want you considering yourself all black. Now, they'll tell you they're white. They don't have no problem with it. So you can say, well, there are no white people. You can say that. That's fine. But you would be mistaken, brother. This is why they are, for now, dominating and controlling the world because they have no problem with understanding, putting forth concepts and ideologies and propaganda that help shape the identity of their people. And in many cases, shape the identity where the people believe that their righteous position in the world is to be atop all the other people in the social order of the world. And that, as you see Captain America and Iron Man and Batman and Superman and this one and that one, super soldiers. Do you understand? Super soldiers. Identity. So that when they start playing the right music, playing the patriotic music and all of that, then those people, they'll be ready to go out and fight and kill. In the name of the whatever flag they roll out, whatever words they use. So, and this is the danger for us as African people when we lose our identity. And we'll follow those same symbols and do those same things and roll on out there, following right along, imitating. And then those people who control that environment will send you right to your own people to do your own people harm. And you'll do it proudly and say, well, because they needed to, they weren't doing right. Speaking of that, let me give you one example. Check this out. The Native Americans, through the environment, were given an identity. They didn't get, not their own identity. They had their own identity. They were given an identity by some people who came over to that land. And that identity was that they were savages. These cowboy movies, always savages. When they were identified as savages, and the general population of all the W's identified them as savages, then you could easily recruit people to go, what? Kill the savages. Because they're savages. You got to kill them or they're going to kill you. Well, the general population who didn't do the killing would not protest against the killing because they're savages. They're identified as savages. And you don't feel bad for the savages because they're savages. You got to kill them before they kill you. You understand? So our good young brothers and sisters, particularly our brothers, thugs, gangsters, savages. Well, nowadays, because it's not politically correct to just kill them, put them in prison. You put them in prison. Do you understand? Back in the day, and if you never known, I didn't know it either. Back in the day, these people, because they identified African brothers and sisters as uncivilized, untamed people, they needed to be enslaved, and the enslavement was a help to them. Now, all you people who, I don't know if y'all say that slavery didn't happen or whatever, okay, you can say that. I'm old enough to have grandparents and great-grandparents who were there and told me before they died what their experiences were. These people would get together, W's, and have a picnic, a celebration. And they would come together and they would sit down, have some popcorn, candy, and soda to watch the hanging of light-skinned person. Black man. Probably black women too, maybe even children, who knows, but certainly black men. I saw pictures. And they would hang the people. And everybody would be sitting watching with their families. It's family entertainment. And then when the man was finished and he was hanging there, dead, they'd go take souvenirs. A finger, an ear. Some people would even they take off his private parts. Now, that's an identity of a people. That's a culture. Those are the people you wanna identify with. You wanna be like that, or do you want to say, well, that was just them, not the people today. Not the people today. It's just that person or that group. Trayvon Martin. Ahmaud Arbery. Emmett Till. Do you know the time frame, the distance between them? Emmett Till. Trayvon Martin. And remember, these are just these high ones. But that was a picnic too. Sitting, watching the video play over and over again, having your favorite beverage, popcorn, some soda. Let's all watch this play out on TV. You got your videos, your souvenirs. Do you understand? Do you understand? So, brothers and sisters, learn who you are. Teach your children who they are. You don't need a school. And be very careful when you take these children now, on Sunday, and you take them to be indoctrinated into an identity that's not natural for them. You have your own religion. And I'm only saying religion so that you know it's a word to describe to you whatever your spiritual belief is. You ever spend time looking that up? You ever do that? Take your time. If you're going to base your life, the foundation of your soul, your spirit, your being, your identity on something, what kind of rational person, what kind of reasonable, intelligent person would do that without, for your life, your identity, and the identity of your children, without exploring, investigating, researching the very thing that you're saying you basing your life on? Men, you lead the family. Men go to war. Don't allow other people to give you some false identity. Women, you're not men. So you can watch the W movies and they show a woman identity now. You're a man. You can jump on and fight man and beat man and do all that. Okay. So So please remember, take it seriously. Look at, spend your time learning. Every second, every waking moment, we have to become scientists in all areas of people activity to figure out how to solve this problem that confronts us. And it can be done. All of the empires, they changed. They didn't go on forever. There's no reason to believe that this one will. No reason. But it will unless you decide that you're not going to do anything about it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night because I can go on about it, but I just wanted you to understand. We're going to talk a little bit about this night chat. This is just a taste. And remember, even though this identity that I talked to you about, we didn't talk about the economic impact that it has, but it has an economic impact. Remember, if you identify with another people, and that other people have at the core of their identity a capitalist economy, then because you identify with them, you'll identify with their economy, which means you'll go around professing that the best economy in the world is capitalism and the best way to do things is a capitalist point of view and all that. So there has to be, there are going to always be poor people and it should be rich people, and I've got the right to be rich and everybody else be poor, and that's okay because you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You understand all that foolishness? Okay, that's identity. Identifying with some people. There was even back in the day, people run around saying, slavery is justified because these people are the chosen people and these people, all that foolishness. You understand? But the soldiers, remember, when they went to enslave, they also went with the same God, with the same thing, and killed millions, tens of millions, and hundreds of millions of black people, African people. And whether or not it's true or not, remember I told you, propaganda. If you put out the right propaganda, it doesn't even have to be true. You just say it over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, and then it becomes true. Generation after generation, the other previous generations, they forget, they die out. And because they didn't have any other choice to reference, because you took that away from them, then they tell their children, just like when you came and you were born and you came out and you started following this program. You didn't even ask yourself why. You just, by the time you become adult, you just believe it. You got to think, got to get out of this problem. So I love you guys. Love you guys. I hope you understand. And again, I'm not saying I'm right, but I need you thinking. I need you thinking just like I have to think. We have to search. Everything that we've been told is questionable at best. It's mostly lies. Like I told you, if these people told you the sun is round, the sun is probably square. If they told you it's black, it's probably white. They're just professional liars. Okay, I love you. Remember your identity. If you don't know what it is, you need to look into it. Me, I'm an African person. I'm a black person. My consciousness is African and black. I believe in that. For whatever it means to you, that's okay. For me, unity with black people. Common goal, solve our problem, protect our children and our families, our women and children, protect them. And protection, that means protecting their identity so they know who they are. Not losing our culture, giving up our language to some people for their language. Swahili is a beautiful language. It's fantastic. And the other languages, we need to have a common one, though, that we all speak, that we understand, because if we had to protect ourselves against some people, we need to be able to communicate together so that we can join forces easily. And we need to have a private language that they don't even know about. Code. They have them, the code breakers. All right, I love you guys. I hope you understand. By the way, like, subscribe, tell a friend. This is the longest video I did. I didn't mean to go on this long, but there's so many things that I want to say that I'm limited in saying because this isn't the right place. Just like, different political organizations that get together and they give you a presentation on CNN and C-SPAN and World News Tonight and the BBC and CCTV and all this. They give you, Al Jazeera. They give you all this. But that's just what they give you. They sit back. They have private meetings to discuss how they're going to dominate you and control you. That's just what they do. So, okay. Love you guys. Have a great night. I'll be talking to you soon. Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru.